I'd like to welcome you to Windsor, and it's a great honor to have you here. And I admire you because you have both eyes open. My question is very simple. What do you think about, do you think is Israel serious about making peace with Palestinians? And if not, I would like you to explain to the audience why. And don't you think that peace will oppose the Zionist goals? Thank you.
As I tried to point out in my remarks, no, I don't believe Israel is serious about making peace, because Israel hasn't yet been reconciled to the fact that force won't work. They still think with just a little more application of force, done more correctly than in the past, they can achieve their goals. They haven't yet been reconciled to the fact that no, the use of force will not achieve your aim. You have to give up on your aim, namely to control the Palestinians and also to control that region. They have not yet been willing. And so, until there is a major rethinking, which everybody here understands, it's not abstract. Everybody, or the older generation, certainly knows, say in the case of Algeria, the civil war, the War of National Liberation against France begins in 1954. It's not until around 1960 when de Gaulle comes to power that people see, or the government saw, no, we can't achieve our goals through force, we have to withdraw. But it takes a lot of time and hard work to convince governments which are accustomed to achieving their aims by force that force won't work. And with Israel now, it's very dangerous because it's another roll of the dice, but each time the stakes get higher and higher. And now the stakes are very serious, because I do not believe that Hezbollah will back off, and I do not believe that Israel will be deterred by the prospect of missiles being fired at Tel Aviv. And at that point, a chain reaction is set in motion, which, believe me, there's nothing I would want more in the world than to be proven wrong on this particular speculation, because the results will be horrifying. Horrifying.
Good evening, sir. I'm a political science student at the University of Windsor, and you're honestly a true inspiration to everyone in this room. And honestly, I look at it as I only have three things in this world. It's my life, my pride, and my knowledge. And thank you for giving me my knowledge. I can honestly consider you a hero just because of the truest words that have ever been spoken have come out of your mouth. And I thank you for that. And now continuing to my question. It's more of a personal question, just out of curiosity. What has your Jewish descent and your opinions in supporting Palestinians and such, what has that caused? What is your biggest problem because of that been? What has your biggest struggle have been in your lifetime? Because we've heard of things such as your tenure struggles, your debates with Dershowitz. Many of us have seen all that. And what would you say has been your biggest struggle in your lifetime because of what your opinion has carried?
Now, that's a large question. I would say my biggest struggle is not to allow myself, as I do too frequently, not to allow myself to wallow in self-pity, and to remember that I lived a wonderful life. And I mean that. I cannot imagine being blessed with a better life than the one I lived. I set certain goals as a young person when I was 16, 17 years old. Goals which I set on the basis of my own parents' experience. Both of them passed through the Nazi Holocaust. Both of them were in the concentration camps. Both of them, every single member of their family, except for them, my mother and my father, every single member was exterminated during the war. I never had any aunts, any uncles, any cousins, any grandparents, nothing. Everyone was killed. And I set certain goals at a young age, 16, 17. Adults would say, he'll grow out of it, it's a phase. And I got to do what almost none of my friends got to do. I got to live out my youthful ideals. I got to live them. And I also had another great good fortune in life, a blessing. I got to say what I actually believed. That's a wonderful experience. There's that German folk song, which I always liked as a young person. Die Gedanken sind frei. Who knows that song? Thoughts are free. My thoughts will not cater to duke nor dictator. No one can deny that die Gedanken sind frei. Thoughts are free. And I got to speak what I believed. It was a blessing. But sometimes, like all people, I start getting self-indulgent, pitying myself, and that's the struggle, to remember it was a good life. I can't say it was a good life for my very close friend in Hebron, Musa Abu Heshesh, from Fawar Camp. Anyone here from Fawar Camp, by chance? From Fawar Camp near Hebron. He's a very close friend of mine. He now works for the Israeli human rights organization B'Tselem. He's their field representative in the Hebron district. And his has been a horrible life. And whenever I have even a second thought about whether I should continue on the path I've chosen, I say to myself, what right do I have not to? He doesn't have a choice. And if he doesn't have a choice, then why should I have a choice? That's not fair. Why should I have the option of saying, I'm tired of this, I'm going to move on? Why should I have that option? He doesn't have that option. He has to live with that wretched occupation every day. I got a call, got an email 3 days ago from his daughter, Arwa. She said that Musa had a heart attack. And he had been telling me for the last few months he can't take it anymore. He said he's even sick of the Palestinian people. He hates them all. He said, I'm going to move to Armenia. He had visited Armenia on a human rights conference. And most of my friends said he wants to move to Armenia. But for him, believe it or not, Armenia was like Shangri-La next to where he lives. So, I should say his job is just documenting death. Each time Israel shoots at some Palestinian, his job is to just go out, write up the affidavits. Every time there's a demonstration, his job is to watch who fired the bullets, where they fire the bullets, they aim at the legs, aim at the head. Can you imagine that? 20 years documenting death, seeing fathers after their kids have been killed, seeing children after their parents have been killed. So how can I complain? I've had a wonderful life. And that's the challenge, to never forget that. It's been a good life. I don't want pity. I don't want hero worship. I don't. Because like Gandhi used to say, I'm a person of 1,000 flaws. He knew his flaws. And I know mine. And if you knew me well enough, you'd know I have many.